on several committees. I'm the chair of the traffic committee in the city council. Our ward roughly goes from the furthest east is Clark Street, the furthest west is Avers, which is 2 blocks east of Pulaski. The furthest northern boundary is North Avenue. The furthest southern boundary is Roosevelt. So we mix in a lot of different communities in our area. We have Old Town, Greektown, the River West area, Goose Island, the Medical District, near West Humboldt Park, West Loop, East Garfield Park. So we kind of cover the heart of the city, so to speak.
Now there are a lot of things going on in your ward for folks who don't know. I mean, let's kick off. You got so much in economic development, a lot of things being built. Like for instance, you have the training facility for the Blackhawks. That's when I see that coming up, right?
Yeah. So we're blessed in the 27th ward. Some of my colleagues get a little envious, and I tell them, we didn't start like this. 21 years ago, everything was Skid Row. We just been blessed over time to position things for things to happen. So actually, we just broke ground for the new Blackhawks Training Center, which is going to be in a place of the old Malcolm X college, for which a new Malcolm X college we cut the ribbon last month on across the street from the old Malcolm X. So that's been done. There are some things that's getting ready to happen with the county hospital. The county hospital is going to be preserved, and they're going to make, I think, rooms and hotel rooms in the county hospital. There's some other developments that's going to happen over there with some retail and other housing in that area, and some campus housing. Also, Rush Hospital is going to be building right by the training center, the Blackhawks Training Center, which is going to expand the area. So, and we're going to be redoing the Damon L stop, medical L stop right there at the Eisenhower. So a lot of great things are happening, and we've just been blessed. I had the fortune of talking with McDonald's yesterday.
Right.
I know everyone been hearing the rumor. Well, it's not real to me until I talk to someone, or someone talk to me about it, besides the rumor mill or the magazines and newspapers. And McDonald's Corporation have talked to me. They're looking forward to coming to the West Loop. They're currently looking at the Harpo Studio site. Now we just have to go through the process with the community of seeing how that building is going to be, how it's going to have an effect on the community. But this is fantastic for the city of Chicago to have such a large corporation to move from the suburbs. Thousands of people coming to the community, bringing economic development to the neighborhood, possibly moving to the community. It's just going to have a dynamic effect, not just on our neighborhood or the 27th ward, but on the whole city of Chicago. Just like the Blackhawks having their training center is doing. And then also we got, 3 RFPs out for Cabrini Green. We're rehabbing some apartments in Henry Horner. There's some housing being built over in Old Rockwell right now. So things are rolling in the 27th ward. So we're just very blessed that we're in the right place at the right time and making things happen. And hopefully we can bring about more opportunities for people in the community to get employment.
And when you're talking about all this development, there's a lot of news, a lot of business coming in, retail, housing, businesses. What does that mean? You're talking about the 27th ward. You talk about economic development. What does it mean for the city? Will the city see this development prospering and bring money into the city?
Yeah, so what it means is that you have more people that's going to be spending money in the city, especially if they come to work in the city. They take cabs, take buses, whatever the case may be. They go to restaurants, they eat, they buy equipment, they buy paper, they buy things that's locally in the community. So it has a adverse effect, which those restaurants and stores or whatever the case may be hire folks from the community or from the city of Chicago. So it's a win-win situation, and then they may just buy homes or rent homes. And of course, we get new hotels built. Matter of fact, this Monday, I'm going to be breaking ground with the mayor on Nobu Hotel, which is Robert De Niro's hotel brand and restaurant brand. And maybe Robert De Niro may be there, which is going to be very exciting. So that's a hotel. We did the Soho Hotel. We have Equinox Hotel maybe coming east of Halsted and Randolph. We got Acme Hotel, which is across from Google. Google's been built in the neighborhood. And then there's another hotel. I don't think that they have a brand yet, but it's going to be built um, on Lake in Peoria over in the area on the west side. There's a proposed hotel over in Old Town community. So there's a lot of things happening. The city looks forward to getting tourists to come to the areas. And over at Google and McDonald's, you're probably going to have a lot of people coming to those corporations, having meetings, spending the weekend or spending a couple of days, coming to the area, spending their money in our community. And those things leads to jobs for people in the city of Chicago. And when they buy houses, they pay more taxes, and that goes into the city coffers. And that helps to less burden everyone in the city of Chicago because it helps to balance our budget. So the mayor, myself, and everyone in the city of Chicago is just continuing to push for more development. Things are moving west, the west side of the city. Now, I talked about the county hospital, but there's another whole development that's happening with the medical district that's not even in our ward. It's in the 28th ward. Across the street on Ogden, that's going to happen with several hotels and other things that's going on in the neighborhood. So things are happening west of on the west side. I mean, it's moving west. It's starting to move past Kedzie. Past actually Western. So a lot of things are happening. If I was people, what I would do right now is buy property. I'll buy property on the west side. I'll hold on to it. Rents are going up. We need to keep some affordability in the area. Tell people don't sell your homes. Don't sell your homes. Property value is going to go up. You may be able to borrow for your house and do some other things. But I would keep my home because your value is going to go up. And today is worth so much. Tomorrow is going to be worth more. And that's my prediction. Although I'm not a mind reader or psychic or anything.
That brings up a good point because in the news lately, there's been a talk about how Chicago's losing population. I believe it's going to be Houston's thinking about maybe becoming the third, largest, city, in terms of population, residents of a city. So is this, so you're talking about the development, what's going on in the ward? Is this what like all of the wards need to capture on to try to maintain the residents that are in these areas, and also to bring in new people?
So the thing is, population brings about a lot of things. Not only does it bring economic development, but it brings about safety. Mostly everywhere where it's not that safe at, you don't have a large population. You have a lot of vacancies, things like that. So we need population in our city. Definitely we need population in our city so that we can qualify for different fundings from the federal government. That's why we take census. And the census count, if you have a large population, you get more transportation money, more healthcare money, more housing money, more everything. But when your population goes down, you lose that money, and that money gets shifted over to the other areas that gain population. So that's why it's very important for people to sign up for the census when the census comes, which is going to be starting, after 2020. Right? But we need to be competitive. Not only do we need to be competitive with population, but we need to be competitive with getting businesses to move to our community. The mayor has aggressively been hustling and trying to get more businesses to move, corporations to move to the city of Chicago. And the challenge is today, is that all corporations want to be where young people want to go. Because the millennials are the new folks to work. Because a lot of the baby boomers are coming of age like myself, and they're starting to retire. They're thinking about retiring, or they're retiring, and so they need to replenish that workforce. And so they're trying to get the millennials, and they're trying to get things that's attractive to them. And what's attractive to them? They want to ride their bikes. They want to be close to everything. They want smaller spaces to work in. They want, smaller places to live in. All of those, I don't know, it's like we get like the Japanese or Chinese one. Everything is getting small. But, they just like to feel like they're on a college campus. And that's the trend that's going on right now. And that's what's happening. And, and sometimes, it's a little rough with that, but we need to keep a balance because after they start having children, they want something bigger and better. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a phase that they go through, but at the same time, they had the smaller things, then they move on to the bigger things. So it helps our city because all of those baby boomers, hopefully we can keep them in the city because when that population comes, we have more people in our schools, we get more money from the federal government for our schools and from the state, hopefully, for our schools, and it help our schools to be better. So we need people. More people are better. is better for everyone in the city of Chicago. It's better for our economy, and it's better, for the city as a whole. And some of the things that we're putting in place with the city, with the new DS district, bonus districts, the AROs, we're trying to build more housing and get more commercial development throughout the city of Chicago, so that we don't just put everything in the central area, but we have to feed off of the central area. The central area is what helps to sustain the whole city of Chicago, because most folks want to come to the central area, whether it be to work, to visit, for tourism, all of those things. And tourism is a big deal. That's why we're building more hotels. We're competing with other cities, Orlando, Las Vegas. We're competing for those tourist dollars. We want those out-of-towners to spend their money here in the city of Chicago. And the more money they spend, the more money we make. And more people work at hotels, restaurants, drive Uber, cabs, Lyfts, all of those different things that's happening. Now you got the Airbnbs, and people rent out their houses, and it's like, there's beginning to be more opportunities for more people to make money. And one of the things that I like about this thing is that, the elderly people, so a lot of folks that retire, they ride an Uber. A lot of folks that retire, they rent out their houses for Airbnbs, Lyfts. And,
right.
So it's kind of helping them, folks with those fixed incomes, to be able to survive and sustain themselves in the city. So it's a lot of great things that's going on.
All right, folks, so you're watching a live call-in show, Political Forum. Our guest tonight is Alderman Walter Burnett Jr., the 27th Ward. My name is Mike Jacobson. I'm a staff member here at KNTV. Call us. Numbers at the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060. 312-738-1060. So now you're talking about housing, and this is something that with all this development, we're seeing, especially in the city and in your ward, you're seeing rents on the rise. And recently there's been news out talking about property tax, if people who own homes or property, that they could see on average a 13% property tax increase. So do you see, what's your take on that?
Well, property taxes are really, for elected officials, the last thing that we want to increase. But sometimes it's inevitable that you have no other choice. One of the challenges with the city is you have to have a good bond rating, right? And the bonding companies, what they base or allow you to borrow money on, more so to get the bonds in order to pay for other things, is something that's more stable. The most stable thing is property taxes. The other stable things are fees, so sewer and water fees and other things like that. Those are stable things that they raise your rating. The higher your rating is, the less it costs you to borrow money, right? That you have to pay interest on, right? And more people are borrowing. So for cities to be competitive and to have leverage for dollars, you need to be competitive. So some things just have to happen. The fortunate thing for the city of Chicago is that in our area, in the Cook County area, we probably had the lowest property taxes in this area in Cook County. So we're still lower than a lot of the suburbs. So that's beneficial. But at the same time, I think the mayor is looking at and made a commitment to try and do something in reference to giving a rebate on property taxes. And we're briefing on those things right now and looking at it, and he's looking for a way. One of our biggest challenges is that we have to rely on Springfield. And we need folks to, talk to their state representatives, the governor, the speaker, the minority leader, to tell them to, move the dime. Move the dime so they can get a budget down there, so that we can start doing things and start making the right adjustments that we need to make to sustain ourselves. So far, what we've been doing in the city of Chicago and pushing all these things in the city is, we've been self-sufficient. We've been doing all these things with our own money and with our citizens' own money, and but we still need those dollars that the state have. Personally, I think the only rational thing to do is to do an income tax increase. I think that's the easiest thing for the state to do, and I know I don't know why they don't want to do it. I know they trying to get the money back or gave the money back, but the income tax touch everyone. You just do property taxes, you just touch the people who own homes. Everybody else don't get touched by it. I think it's fair that we all put in, because we all live in this city and we all want to make it a better place. But I think Chicago is on the move. I think the more we put public money out there, the more we're going to get private investments back, and eventually we're going to stabilize ourselves, help the urban community on the south and the west side to be able to prosper and grow, and more people going to benefit, and things will stabilize, and it won't cost all of us as much as it's costing us now.
Looks like we have a caller. Caller, are you there tonight?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Can you hear me?
I hear you
Yes.
loud and clear.
Okay, well, I can't hear you good, but I'm just going to try and express my concerns. What I'm concerned about is some of the neighborhood stores that's open up in especially the black neighborhoods. And you're not the only alderman I have called about this concern. They open up a store, and upstairs it's abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
Upstairs it's abandoned. Nobody lives there. It's boarded up. But they can open up a store especially in the black community. Okay, and I understand because some of the aldermen told me, well, if you don't have to shop there. But if this all you got in your neighborhood, you have no other place to shop. Okay, me, I can go to Jewel's, I can go to Dominic's, I can go to Mario's, or whatever, because I have a car and I can go to these places. But some people don't have these places, a car where they can go. And then you let them open, and these stores are so condemned. And they say they have a full line of groceries. That's a lie. Nobody does nothing about it. You have ward superintendents who are supposed to check on these places. Every alderman have a ward superintendent that goes around and check. But they don't. And you as a black alderman should know better than to allow this to go on in your ward and do nothing about it.
Okay,
Going on. That's my concern. Bye.
all right. Well, I appreciate that. So, what I can say about that is that, one, the ward superintendent deals with sanitation. It's actually the health department that's supposed to go to those stores and make sure that those stores are selling healthy food and that they're regulated and all those things, and also business affairs. So if you have a store, especially if it's in our ward, and you think that they're, not up to par, you let us know, and we'll send a health inspector in. Right now, they're doing a big deal on all of these stores. You may have seen it on the news yesterday, dealing with them on selling cigarettes to young people. Also participating in the loose cigarette sales that goes on in our community. So we're trying to put the hand on that. All of this is happening is simply back to what I was talking about. It's about population. We have what you call food deserts in some of these communities because they don't have the population. When you go to the shopping convention in Las Vegas and try and get businesses to move to certain communities, they say, what's the demographics? How many people live in the area? How much money they make? If they don't have a certain amount of people that make a certain amount of money in that community, they like, our store won't make it over there. It's not worth us building over there. That's why, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you bring the business or do you bring the people? I say you have to bring the people in order to get the business. So that's why we need to get population. And a lot of times what happens in these communities, what I've experienced in these communities, if government prime a community with affordable housing, with senior housing, it helps to bring population to the community. But then we need to do other things in order to bring businesses to the area. And I think the mayor heard that loud and clear from a lot of other aldermen that says that we need more commercial development in our ward, and that's why we just did this ordinance with a thing called a downtown district, DS districts, which now if developers want to get density bonuses on their development downtown, that they have to pay, that density bonus money goes into a pot, 10% goes into the local community. I think it's 10% or 20% goes into 10% goes into the local community. The rest of it goes into other areas throughout the city where we help to subsidize those businesses that say they can't afford to come to this community because it's not a larger population. But I would venture to say, with the chicken and egg thing, when we built the Pete's Market on Weston and Madison, it seemed like that primed the community for more folks to want to move to the area. and more folks that want to shop at other stores in the area, and more stores that want to open because they figure they have the critical mass of people coming in and out of an area that they can feed off of each other, right? So so by the city taking this effort, like for instance, this McDonald's. If this McDonald's building get approved, they're going to need a density bonus. Each of those bonuses, they may have to pay a certain amount of money. Let's say about $3 million. They do $3 million, $300,000 going to the community. The other $2,700,000 can go to the south side and the west side to help subsidize a Jules, or help subsidize a Mariano's, or help subsidize something else that can be built in that community. And maybe that may attract other residential development to happen and other businesses to come to the neighborhood. So it's a step-by-step process, but we all got to participate. And the other thing is we have to stop moving out of our neighborhoods. We need to stay in our neighborhoods. We need to stand tall. We move out of our neighborhoods and other folks move in our neighborhoods, then we say they took over our neighborhoods. But we're the ones who sell out. We're the ones who leave. Stay in our neighborhoods. Stand up. Stay in our neighborhoods and help to rebuild the neighborhoods together.
Thank you for that question, caller. So we have a little more than 5 minutes left. I'm going to switch gears a little bit because also what's been in the news lately is CPS schools, and I know that you're on the Education and Child Development Committee. There has been some lead testing, that's been going on in the schools, and some of these schools now are showing signs, of lead in the water, in the drinking fountains, and the like. So I know that there's looking at getting a committee hearing to see what to do, but what's your reaction to it, and what would you like to see happen?
One, I think that's detrimental to our children, right? To have lead in the schools. They're now testing all of the schools. I think that's the right thing to do. Where there is lead, we need to deal with it because we need not to, lead has a lot of adverse effects on the health of people, and we don't want to put our children in that position. But also, we do need to have a hearing. We need to know and learn more about it. We need to not speculate. I agree with my colleagues about putting up for a hearing, that we need to have a hearing and we need to talk more about it and see what's actually going to be done. And see how they're going to pay for it. I'm sure in the communities and the areas where we have TIF set, they're going to try to use TIF dollars to address some of those issues. But what are they going to do with the areas where they don't have TIF set? And then the other challenge is, this is a public health issue. The other challenge is if they don't have the TIFs, are they going to get the money from the state? And this brings us right back to where we started at, is that they need to get off the dime in Springfield and make things happen, because all of these things have an adverse effect, a life and death effect on people in our neighborhood, and we need the help from Springfield. Springfield is very critical to all of us.
As we talked about, the schools, the businesses, are people in your ward, are they also are they coming with concerns because of the impasse downstate? Are they saying?
Oh yeah, their community organizations aren't getting funded. A lot of people who live in our communities work for some of these organizations, right? So folks are losing their homes. They have to relocate their children to other schools because they can't pay for school. It has a lot of bad effects on our community. I mean, you're talking about thousands of people who work for these non-for-profit organizations that service our community, and people are not getting the services. These services are services that the state, through the state and the city, we give to these organizations to help us to help people, right? That's our other arm of helping people in the community. Whether it be for after-school program, health services, mental illness services, all these different services that people need in our community, and it's affecting their jobs. And we don't need young people hanging out with idle time, because bad things happen. And we need all of these community organizations to be involved and to be and made whole. I mean, you even have a lot of organizations that get money from the state to house people who are coming home from being incarcerated. So they lose their money. What they gonna do? Just put all those people out on the street without any services, without any job services, job placement services, without any monitoring, all those things. It affect, and it don't just affect one community. It affect all the communities. We even talking about dealing with folks with disabilities. We're talking about dealing with senior citizens. I mean, these things are tragic. You know, and you know, I don't want to be political about it, but you know, what I'm saying now is a lot of the same things we were saying when they had the race for governor. That, you know, these kind of things are going to happen. And, you know, and I hate to say that, you know, we told you so, but we need to move on from there. It's a new day, and we need everybody to work together. Work together. Do what's expedient for the people in our society, not what's political. Do what's expedient right now to help folks in our society. We're talking about health and safety in our society.
So it looks like we have about 2 minutes left. Now I know that I want to get, there's a lot of events that are also going on in your ward. You've got what's going on this weekend, Taste of Randolph?
Yeah, Taste of Randolph is a great event. I'm going to be there for the opening tomorrow, I think around 5 o'clock. It's going to be a great event. People from everywhere. The weather is wonderful. Bands. It's just going to be off the chain.
And you got in August, you got a stay in school picnic?
Yeah, we have our annual stay in school picnic at the end of August. You can call our office if you want to volunteer, if people want to donate, support us. We've been working this last year. We worked with Soul City Church, and we worked with Soul City Church and the church over on Halsted and Green. I'm sorry, Pastor. And both of their organizations have volunteered with us and donated to the picnic, give us school supplies. We kind of put two picnics together, so to speak. They've been doing it, we've been doing it. We said we might as well do it together and help more young people. So we give out school supplies, feed all the people, bus them in, you know, have entertainment, you know. So it's a great event for the whole family. So we're always looking for volunteers. So people, please call my office, 312-432-1995. Thank you.
There you go. So there's all the information you need right now. You also can email the Alderman W. Burnett at cityofchicago.org. And you can also visit his website, which is aldermanburnett.com. I'll show you the website. This is where you're going to be able to get a lot of information about ward services, about news and information, learn about the alderman. All that information is all right here. So that's at aldermanburnett.com. Well, that's it. So that's pretty much a wrap right there.
Hey.
It went by real fast, don't you think?
So guys, I just want to know, how do I look with this new blue background? I mean, this is so beautiful, man. I can't believe I feel like I'm in Hollywood.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank Jason for answering the phones. And you've been watching Political Forum. Please tune in next week where our guest is going to be Cook County Commissioner Richard Boykin. So until then, good night, everyone.
Thank you.